I was checking YouTube Studio yesterday and found out that I haven't recorded a off the press video in the year 2022 so far. So here we go. We're back to off the press. It's been around 2 weeks since I last did one because of the Christmas break. And as per usual with these kind of videos, I'm going to start off with two very big positives. Two current players at the club have been praised for their attitudes regarding the way they've answered questions. And I feel that I have to talk about it because, one, the fan base has responded well to it, and two, it's exactly what we're looking for in footballers in general. What they've said in their answers and how they've gone about the current situation at the club in respect to themselves. Also, we got some news about the stadium, which I'm going to address in this episode, and you're going to find out about some work that could be getting done to the London Stadium. Okay, so in this week's Off the Press, I'm going to be talking about Nikola, Vlašić, Michail Antonio, and some potential redevelopments that could be done to the west stand of the London Stadium. Vlašić is a player who hasn't received a lot of game time at West Ham, mainly being used as a substitute, and many fans are questioning why the club spent so much money on a player that isn't playing often. Moreover, some fans believe that he's not putting in much of a shift sometimes, or on the other hand, that he deserves an opportunity to actually shine. Now, he's responded to that, his lack of game time, and the way he handled it is exactly what I wanted to hear. And I'm sure when I tell you in this video, it's probably what you'd want to hear as well. Michail Antonio has also kind of given a hint as to what he wants in the transfer window. I'll go into a bit more detail because if I actually do tell you right now, it'll just ruin the video. And thirdly, I'm going to be talking about some redevelopment work that could be happening to the London Stadium to improve the game day experience and to renovate the stadium as per a lot of fans' requests, to make it more of a football-worthy stadium as such. But let me start off by talking about the Croatian midfielder Nikola Vlašić and what he thinks about his lack of game time and why that isn't much of an issue for him. Since he arrived at the London Stadium, Nikola Vlašić has been met with mixed reactions by the fans. The club paid close to £30 million for him to bring him from CSKA Moscow back to the Premier League, given that he used to play for Everton. He wasn't given much of a chance at Everton and may have been hoping for a fresh start in the Premier League with West Ham. Now, not even nearly all, I'd rather say all of his Premier League appearances thus far have come from off the bench. And even when he has come on in games, he has shown a lot of energy. He has shown a lot of potential. Some fans have still got a jury out on him, but I think personally that he's done pretty well to this date. When Vlašić was playing in the Russian Premier League, he was a starter, he was one of the best players in the league, one of the best midfielders, and he won Russian Player of the Year. His friends and family asked him why he wasn't getting enough game time, and after he scored in the 4-1 win over Watford, he gave an interview to West Ham's official website in which he said this, and I quote, "My friends and family asked me, how is it, as you don't play too much like before? I said, listen, I really love it here, because I think if I'm in any other club, if I don't play, I would be unhappy, but here, I'm really happy, because I work hard." That is a really good attitude to have. That is the kind of player David Moyes wants in the team. You know when Moyes talks about character and finding players with the right attitudes? This is exactly a testament of that. The fact that Vlašić knows that he's not always going to be everyone's favourite, he knows that he's not going to be a starter, but that doesn't really bother him because he knows that he's got to get his chance. And as long as he's really happy at the club and he's got a really good vibe about being here, just look after those little things, I say, because the bigger things will just take care of themselves. And that's going to happen in Vlašić's case. He just needs to keep working hard on the training pitch, put in a lot of effort when he comes into games, and before you know it, he'll probably end up getting a starting spot in the team. And who knows, with Benrahma going off to the Africa Cup of Nations, Vlašić might end up starting in the midfield role. I mean, that door's open, and Vlašić could easily fit that. He's impressed me a lot. I do like him, and I do want him to succeed. He and Manuel Lanzini found some decent form at exactly the right time before Benrahma was due to leave. So, with that said, Vlasic's attitude about not playing very often wasn't met with something along the lines of, I'm getting frustrated or the manager's not playing me. No, it was more like, I just got to do what I've got to do on the training pitch, and the time will come for me to start. That doesn't matter though, because I love playing for West Ham. Please stay with us, Nikola, because that's a good attitude, and I can't complain about what you said. Guess what West Ham needs in the transfer window for the millionth time since 2010? Any guesses? A striker. You know, a forward person who can score goals. Yeah, that thing. Yeah. We need a striker again. Because Michail Antonio is the only real fit striker we got at the club. I'm not even going to say the next bit before I start, because you probably know what I'm going to say next about that. If you watch my channel regularly, you know what I'm going to say about Antonio being the lone striker at the club. You know it. You don't need to reference it or anything. You know it. It's fact. And Michail Antonio kind of knows it. How do I know? I'm going to quote something that he told the club's website. He said, and I quote, "I'm a person who wants a challenge. I want someone there pushing me and making sure I am doing the right things. I went 9 games without scoring. Maybe someone could have stepped in and given me that push to hit the back of the net." That, in its simplistic form, is him calling out for a competition in the team. Him calling out for a striker partner. He's being honest, and I like that. He's honestly saying, I went 9 games without scoring. Maybe someone could have stepped in. Yeah, totally agree with him. But we don't have anyone else who can step in for that role, apart from Jared Bowen. Then when he starts as a striker, we have to change our style of play because we can't put in crosses into the box. He can't get his head on him. It's not tall enough. And we thought we'd have it with Odebeko. I don't think he's going to hack it at West Ham. Odebeko, we all hyped him up. We did that with Freddie Sears, remember? Look what happened there. We kind of did it with Odebeko. History's repeated itself. Odebeko seems to have a stinking attitude. And another thing about him, he went out on loan to Huddersfield. He didn't impress one bit. At all. He's had his loan cut short. I don't think Odebeko is ready for our first team. And he's not the competition Antonio needs. We need to get in at least 2 new strikers so that everyone can compete for that top spot. Had somebody come in over the summer and we had another striker signed, things would have been definitely different. Antonio would have been dropped. Antonio would have had to fight for his space in the team. But that couldn't happen because we have no one else to replace him. So that's why he started in the 9-game goalless run. Because no one else could start him up that position. He actually now kind of realises that. And the fact he's kind of calling this out, shouldn't that just put more pressure on David Moyes to get a striker in instead of faffing about? Yeah, I think so. Ever since West Ham moved to the London Stadium, thousands of fans have complained about the lack of atmosphere or the fact that the stadium doesn't seem to be suited structurally for football. It is theoretically and fundamentally an athletic stadium, given the shape of it and the distance from the seats to the pitch. And because of this, the owners are slowly starting to take action to make it more of a comfortable stadium for football, as well as a better experience for fans. As a result, West Ham is close to seeing an agreement reached for a £14.5 million redevelopment of the West Stand. It's meant to bring the seats closer to the pitch and closer to the pitch side. It's also going to help with the atmosphere in a way, because the atmosphere is something that's really suffered with this stadium. And it's also trying to keep with that promise that David Gold said. Remember, David Gold said that the distance from the pitch to the seats would be the same as it was at the Bowling Ground? That was a lie. The blueprints that even before we moved in would have shown you that. And a podcast showed that from about 4 years ago. However, it looks like that wish is going to happen. We need to redevelop the stadium. I think it needs to be done one step at a time to make it more comfortable. Pi Capital talked about it before its failed bid for the club. And I think now something's coming into fruition here. The search over booking and the Bobby Moore lower tiers are going to have future developments in mind. And there may be some changes to the standard of safety in the Premier League before that can happen. But either way, we need to change how the stadium looks. Make it a little bit more West Ham. You know what I'm saying? I mean, right now there's a good buzz around the place because the club's in such a good position as a team that the fans can be proud of. And although one could argue that it is up to the fans to make that atmosphere, it's still, the size of the place. Someone can chant and no one will copy because it's too quiet or too distant. So I think we need to do some redevelopment work. It's just going to happen over time, but the fact that it's being considered now is absolutely a good thing. Thank you very much for watching this episode of Off the Press, the first of the new year. Hope you all enjoyed it. If you liked the video, you know what to do by now. Give it a thumbs up, comment below and tell me your thoughts. Share it. It always goes on my Twitter account, which is from the Anvil WHU. You can watch it on there or just watch it here on YouTube. Well, either way, you'll be taken to YouTube anyway, so why did I even say that? Take care, everybody. Hope you enjoy your weekend, and I will see you for Opposition Uncovered when I detail the Leeds United game. See you all then.